All right, welcome. If you know anything about these Chinese four-wheelers, they're a little bit lacking on power down below. So we went ahead and upgraded the gearing on it. We went with a bigger rear sprocket as well as a different front sprocket. Here's what we're going with. Quite a bit bigger. We're going for more low end, more acceleration. Came with the bolts. Right here's the sprocket for the front. We're also going to change out the air filter, let it breathe a little bit better. New chain. Not sure if that's too small or too long. If hopefully it's too long, we can cut it down. We'll see when we get there. But so we went with a bigger rear sprocket. Try and get some more acceleration out of it. At the end of it all, we'll clean it up and we'll see how it works. So stay tuned for the process. All right, first thing, go ahead and jack it up, or in this case, put it on a jack stand. Make sure it's on there. I'm gonna remove the wheel first. I'm gonna take this ring off. 4 bolts. I know there's different brands. This one is a X Pro. I know they got Tao. I'm sure they're all the same, 10 millimeter. This one's got 3 of them, nuts on the back. All right, next, looks like we got 2 Phillips heads for the chain guard. Looks to me like first we need to take this off. Got a cotter pin and a castle nut. Show you that. All right, go ahead and take off the end cap on your axle, and then you got a cotter pin here with a castle nut. Go ahead and bend that tab out or back in on the cotter pin. Remove that so we can take off the castle nut. Just kind of work at it. Just like that. That off the side. Next, take off the castle nut. All right, for this particular castle nut, this one is a 15/16. You're gonna want to remove that. Put next to your cotter pin so you don't lose them. Slide off your hub. And then next, we're going to take off the bolts to the sprocket. Okay, right here is the sprocket that we're replacing with the bigger one. You got 4 10 millimeters. Go ahead and take those off. We can remove the sprocket. Just like that. Put your bolts off to the side. Should be able to remove your chain. All right, there it is. I see this plate right here is probably going to be an issue. We're going to have to cut that plate off for the size of the new sprocket. All right, I just went ahead and removed it. It's only got 2 little soft welds on there. Bend it back and forth a few times, it comes off. I understand this is a protectant plate for if you hit like roots or debris underneath and it protects the sprocket, but I guess that's going to be the compromise for wanting better acceleration, so we're going to go for it. Take that off. All right, here's the size comparison. The different teeth. This one's the factory one, 41 tooth, and we're going ahead and jump up to a 56 tooth. Once I compare the small sprocket, the drive sprocket, I'll go ahead and do the teeth count on that, and then we'll figure out the ratio where we're going to be at and where we were. But this is what we're going up to, so we'll go ahead and mount that now. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put the sprocket on. There's a little design on it. I kind of don't care which way it goes. Doesn't matter to me. I'm thinking this way would be just fine. They provided longer hardware. Probably don't need it. The tolerance back here, the clearance is pretty tight, so I'll go ahead and use the ones that came off it. right, now we're gonna go ahead and take off this little section here. Looks like there's some screws and bolts. Take that off. 3, 6, 7, 8. It looks like 10 of them. They're all 10 millimeter. These ones are Phillips, but on the back they're 10 millimeter. So I'll hit what I can with the impact and get the rest. Alright, just like that, get it all off. Now it's going to access more room to work on that sprocket. There's a pinch bolt down here with your shifter. Looks like another 10 millimeter possibly. Go ahead and loosen that up. You don't have to take it all the way out, just release the pressure on that pinch. Alright, now for this access panel for your drive sprocket, looks like 2 8 millimeters. 1, 2, and there's the drive. Okay, go ahead and remove the chain. Alright, I just learned, go ahead and put that in gear. Put your shift fork back on, put it in gear, that way this drive sprocket doesn't spin. Now you should be good. One bolt. Second bolt. There you go. Should pull right off. I will take it over to the table. All right, right here's the comparison between the two. That's obviously the old one, a 14 tooth. Same hardware, just a bigger one on this. This is a 17 tooth. So at the end of it all, I'll let you know what the ratio was and what it is now. All right, go ahead and apply this drive sprocket. Now there's a open channel in here once you go so far in here. This locks it to where it doesn't want to come out. So the hose won't line up until you get it in that channel. Then you're able to move it all around and line up your mounting screws. Okay. Go ahead and line that up, get them started. My apologies if you can't see. Hands in the way, maybe my head's in the way. All right, just like that. Get them started. Tighten it down. Again, for safe measure, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of power onto it. I don't know the torque spec on it. Again, if you want to find that out, you can. I'm just going to tighten it. Pretty good. There you go. It's going to have flop and play in it, but that's by design. All right, next for the new chain. All right, so the new chain, it's more than long enough, so it has a master link. We are going to have to shorten it. On the other hand, trying to put this on with that new chain, if it's possible, if you take it off, put the chain on it, and then put it back on. Thing is, with the chain, it hits the casting on the motor here. So I'm not grinding down any part of the casting. If you want to, that's fine. We're after acceleration anyway, so this being bigger, going back down to the smaller one, it's going to just be that much more acceleration. So that's more or less what we're after. So we're going to go ahead and put the factory one back on, the 14 tooth. Again, at the end of all this, I'll let you know what the ratio was at the start and then what it is now. So we'll go ahead and put that back on. now for the chain, we put it on and we see how much slack. We got all this slack right here. So we have to find out where or how many links. So for starters, we're going to take off the master link, measure it, and then find out what we need to cut off and go from there. All right, here's your master link. I'm going to pull that off like that. Put that off to the side. And then these pieces right here. And then this one. Now remember, it's probably good that you keep this or not. I mean, you're going to need it, but as far as sizing goes, this is what you're going to want to walk with, okay? So meet me back over there. All right, go ahead and put one of your open ends on. Just let it hang over there so it's where it should be. Feed it around. Walk that chain up. And it looks like right there is where we need to connect it. Thing is, with that master link, that ain't gonna work out. We need to have two inner ones for the outer one to go on. So we have a tensioner on here. We'll go ahead and loosen up the tensioner and we'll see how much farther we can bring it in or out to meet where we want to have that chain at. Okay, as far as your tensioner goes, right here on this one on each side, I used a 1/2 and a 15. Same with here, 15 and a 1/2 inch. Gonna want to loosen that up. That's gonna allow you to take pressure off of this. You loosen up this one. It's a 13 millimeter. It could vary with yours, but that's a 13 millimeter. It's a jam nut. You'll take that off, and then these are what you're gonna spin to pull or push the chain tensioner on this. Okay, so we're basically gonna take off both jam nuts, which I already did. They're down there. Now we're gonna rotate these. I'm gonna mock up the chain kind of where I want it. And as I tighten these up, you wanna tighten them evenly, okay? So I'll go on here, I'll start this way, and then I'll go 90 degrees. Or I mean 180. I'll start there on this one, 180. And then I'll do the same thing, 180, 180. That way it's tightening or loosening, it's putting tension evenly from when it came. That way the axle doesn't end up cockeyed. All right, I went ahead and cut it to length. I figured it all out off camera. My phone was dying, so I let it charge for a little bit. I didn't do too much though. Same, everything applies here. But I backed it all the way out, the chain tensioner. So I took the jam nut off, and the one nut that's on there, it's almost all the way to the end. I put it all the way down so that I have all that room to tension it, to tighten it up. I found it, the length that's best close to it. So right there, end up saving a link. So drop that down there, because remember, you need the two inside links so that you can put your master link on, okay? So now that I got it on there, I already cut it to length. Go ahead and put your master link back through. Put that flat one, and then you have your hook one. I know my hands are a little dirty. You'll put that one on there. I found that on the way that the chain goes, so it's going this way, put the open end away from it. Found that that helps with me on my mini bike anyway. If I have the open end face the forward way and it ends up hitting stuff and slapping things, it'll end up knocking that master link right off and then leave you stranded. All right, so once you got your master link on, Chain's on there, good to go. Right under here, I'll put my pry bar. And, oh, nope, actually, the opposite. Put my pry bar and then kind of take that tension out of it, just like so. Or add tension, sorry. There you go. Chain's looking good. Now, tighten this nut down a little bit, hand tight. Mind you, I had to move it quite a bit because I couldn't find that sweet spot on that chain. Ended up finding it, so this is the best that I can get. All right, again, apply your pressure on there. You don't want to go overkill with the chain tension. You do want a little bit of play in it, okay? It doesn't need to be rock solid. You don't need to walk on it like a tightrope. Okay, now once you get on there, just do a couple, kind of feel the tension in the ratchet. That should be just fine. Put the jam nuts on. Just like that, okay? Now tighten up all your other bolts that you loosened up. Right, now that's tight, the jam nuts are on, go over your work, make sure everything's tight that should be, and it is. All right, as far as the rest of the assembly goes, it's basically just opposite of when we took it apart. Everything is back on here again. Make sure your master link is on correctly. The open end of the master link is going behind you, you know, in rotation. Your tensioner bolts, all that stuff's tightened down, your sprocket bolts, these bolts, everything. So go ahead and make sure everything's tightened down and then reassemble the way you assembled it. So this will be the time-lapse part. I might change the angle a couple times, but this will be time-lapse, so keep watching. and there it is. The gearing change on this Chinese howto X Pro, however you want to call it. It's a 125cc, and man, did that gearing really liven it up. Had my son shaking. It may not be the fastest demon out there, but what a difference. The old gearing was a 2.9, I believe was the old gear ratio. Yeah, 2.9. And once we put that 56, we took the 41 tooth rear sprocket off and put that 56 on there, it put it to a 4.0 gear ratio. So this thing definitely scoots a lot more. I'm sure you've seen it on the other clips. As far as the backyard goes, we don't have a lot of room, so as far as top end and stuff like that, he doesn't need it, but he's got all the acceleration he needs now, so he's well pleased with it. Next, we got him a little intake. He's super pumped to put that on there. Maybe upgrade a carburetor in the future, but he wanted a nice intake. Figured the red one will go good with it, so he's excited for that. I told him that gearing was going to make a big difference. If you have one of these, this is how it should have came. It doesn't need to go that fast. These things, I think when he had the old gearing on there, we've got it up to about 30, 35 miles an hour. That's pretty quick for a four-wheeler like this. If you ever seen it in person, you'll see what I mean. They're kind of small, top-heavy, not too stable, kind of stiff suspension. You know, kind of all the stuff that you don't want for your child to go fast on. As far as acceleration goes, yeah, it can get sketchy, especially when he's turning and doing the drifts and stuff like that, but he can manage that better at a lower speed versus going 35 and messing up. So thanks for watching. I hope this helps somebody. Again, it's a simple fix. I'd rather have the acceleration on these for your child. Next would be the intake, and I also have some more videos coming up. I got a lot to do to the Cadillac. Need to change all the O2 sensors, the motor mounts. I got a throttle body, and then for the Jeep, I'm doing the rear shocks. It's too soft back there. I needed to stiffen up. So look forward to those videos. Like and subscribe, and go ahead and hit that notification. That way you'll be alerted when those videos come out. So thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.